Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Be More Sports Dad here with you. I really appreciate you being here with me today. And as always, please, if you enjoy my video, you enjoy the content, please give me a touchdown dance on that like button. Hit a home run with the subscription. I really need views. I really need subscribers. I really need likes. I want to keep putting out great videos for you, and I want people to see it. So please, and thank you if you have. I really do appreciate it. So, the other day, I went out to go get a pizza at my local pizza place. And, I was sitting there waiting for my pizza. The guy behind the counter notices my Ravens hat that I got on. And he says, "Hey, you're a Ravens fan." I go, yeah, I'm a Ravens fan. He says, "I'm a little nervous about you guys for this coming Sunday's playoff matchup against Derrick Henry. He's got to be the best back in the league." And I said, I don't 100% agree if he's the best back in the league. I think he's maybe 1, 2, or 3. There could be people to go against him. And, we started squaring back on some names and stuff. And, kind of ended there after I picked up my pizza. And, a few days went by and I was thinking, who really is the best back in the league? And I tried to think of a top, doing some research, tried to think of a top 5, and I threw in an honorable mention in there, and, let's see who is the best back in the league. I also want to talk about who I potentially think could become best backs as well. Some of the top rookies this year who had great years, and I really just want to throw them out there. So let's get started. So I want to talk about rookies first. Some of these guys I really think could eventually become top 5 running backs because of the systems they're in and also because of just what they did this year were some amazing stats. So first one I got from the Indianapolis Colts, I got Jonathan Taylor. He had a really great year. Top 5 in a lot of categories. Just great year all around for him. He ran for 1,169 yards. He had 11 touchdowns in just 15 games, and he was averaging 5 yards per carry, which is just a great year. Second guy I have is J.K. Dobbins, straight from my Ravens. He had a great year as well. He played 15 games, wasn't a full starter until as of late. He had 9 touchdowns and ran for 805 yards and led the league, even over guys like Derrick Henry and Alvin Kamara and Nick Chubb in yards per carry. It was 6 yards per carry. And I just really think he's going to excel in this Baltimore running system. Baltimore is just tearing up the league with running, and Lamar Jackson, as his quarterback, opens up so much more for him. So I really see him being a great back in years to come. And the last one I have for the rookies, Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Excuse me. His name's a little tricky sometimes. He had a good year as well. Same thing with J.K. Dobbins. I think he's really going to excel with Patrick Mahomes and those weapons that are around him, as long as they keep all those pieces together. He can catch the ball really well. He had 803 yards in just 14 games, and he ran for 4 touchdowns with 4.4 yards per carry. So he had a great year as well, and I really see those guys, and we'll be talking about them being top backs in the next few years to come. I think they're going to be very good. So my honorable mention I have, and I really was back and forth with this one. I really had him at number 5 originally, and there was one glaring stat, the reason I didn't. And I think a lot of people are going to be shocked that I don't have him as a top 5 back, and that's Alvin Kamara. One glaring stat was he's never ran for 1,000 yards in his entire 4-year career, and that was shocking to me. He got close this year in 2020. He ran for 932 yards in just 15 games. But he's a 4-time Pro Bowler. He really good receiver. He puts up very good receiving yards. He's had averages about 600 to 800 receiving yards per year. And he's just a very good back all around. But the fact that he over some of these other guys where he has not had a 1,000-yard rushing season yet really shocks me. And that's why I have him as an honorable mention. I had to throw his name in there. He's one of the top backs in the league, but I had to put him in as an honorable mention. So number 5, I have Ezekiel Elliott. Zeke had a little bit of a down year this year in 2020. I really contributed that a lot to the team itself, and it really shows that that you need a good offense, a good, around other pieces around you. Not many backs could just carry a team like Adrian Peterson or Barry Sanders with bad offensive lines. When Dak went down, he really struggled this year. He got close to 1,000 yards, though. He had 979 yards. He's a former All-Pro on his rookie year. In 2016, he was an All-Pro. I believe he led the league in rushing. He had 2018, he had 1,400 yards. He was a Pro Bowler in 2019. And he's just an all-around great back. He's very versatile. He can also catch the ball. And I love when Zeke runs. I think if he has the right pieces around him on the offense, I think he's a great running back. And I have him coming in at number 5. Number 4 and number 3, I feel, are very similar backs, so I'm going to bring them up at the same time. I have Dalvin Cook at number 4, Nick Chubb at number 3. I personally just like Nick Chubb a little bit more. I think I like the way he runs, and they're both 2-time Pro Bowlers. Nick Chubb was hurt most of this year, and which kind of big reason why I put him ahead because of what he did this year. He only played in 12 games, still managed to get 12 touchdowns. He had 1,067 yards, and splitting time also, Barrett, splitting a lot of his carries with Kareem Hunt, who also had a great year. But Nick Chubb can also catch the ball. He's not as good of a receiver as Dalvin Cook, but he's versatile. He can catch the ball. 2019, he had 1,400, almost 15, actually, he had 1,494 yards, so he was just shy of 1,500 yards, and he had 8 touchdowns. Just a great back with Nick Chubb. Dalvin Cook as well. Dalvin Cook had a great 2020 year. He played in 15 games. He had 1,557 yards in just 14 games. He's an okay receiver. He receives well. So I think they're both great backs. I just personally favor Nick Chubb over Dalvin Cook, but in reality, it's a coin flip. If you had your own list, you could put either one, whichever way. That's just how I see it. So Nick Chubb at number 3, Dalvin Cook at number 4. I have Alvin Kamara as my honorable mention, and I have Ezekiel Elliott at number 5. So those are kind of my top backs coming into my final 2. So number 2, I have Derrick Henry. And number 1, I have Christian McCaffrey. And everybody's probably, whoa, Derrick Henry just got 2,000 yards. The year prior, he had a great season as well, where he had 1,500 plus yards. Christian McCaffrey didn't even play this year. And that's kind of a big reason. So Christian McCaffrey, I'm kind of essentially just going to wipe away his 2020 season. He only played in 3 games. He had only 59 carries. And you really got to take into account his 2019 season and his 2018 season and what he probably would have accomplished this year, and comparing him against Derrick Henry in this kind of ranking I'm doing. So Derrick Henry had a great year. He's probably going to be an All-Pro this year. He had 2,027 yards. He 17 touchdowns. He averaged a crazy. He averaged 126 yards per game, which is just insane. Absolutely insane. And 5.4 yards per carry. Now, Derrick Henry in 2019 had a great year as well. Last year he had 16 touchdowns. He had 1,540 yards. Same thing last year as well. His last 2 years have been absolutely insane. He averaged 102 yards per game with 5.1 yards per carry in 2019. He's not the best receiver. He really doesn't receive the ball all that well. He only had 2 touchdowns receiving with 206 yards in 2019, 0 touchdowns in 2020 with only 114. But he doesn't really have to running the ball like that. And now Christian McCaffrey, on the other hand, in 2019, he was an All-Pro. He had 1,387 yards rushing. He had 15 touchdowns. He had 4.8 yards per carry. and he averaged 86.7 yards a game. And 2018, he had 1,098 yards rushing with 7 touchdowns. He averaged 5.5 yards a carry with 68 yards a game rushing. But the one thing, obviously, so before I say this, obviously he's not the runner that Derrick Henry is. But where I'm getting at, and the main thing is Christian McCaffrey's receiving ability and his versatility is just, I think, puts him the edge over Derrick Henry. In 2019, Christian McCaffrey had 4 touchdowns receiving with 1,005 yards. He's only I didn't look up this stat on my video, but he's only probably a handful of running backs ever to have 1,000 yards rushing and 1,000 yards receiving. And even in 2018, the year prior, he had 867 yards with 6 touchdowns receiving. So he's just such a weapon. And another glaring statistic is that Christian McCaffrey's attempts, 2018, he only had 219 attempts to Derrick Henry's 303 rushing attempts. And in 2019, Christian McCaffrey only had 287 attempts to Derrick Henry's 2020 attempts at 378, which is a crazy amount of attempts to run the ball. Tennessee's he's going to be worn down. That guy's going to need an ice bath like crazy come the end of the season. So, personal preference, I'm sure some people would probably, kind of same thing with Nick Chubb and Dalvin Cook, that that it's kind of a coin flip, but I see Christian McCaffrey over Derrick Henry as my top back in the league still, even though he missed the 2020 season, just because of his versatility. I think he's the most versatile back in the league. He can run for 1,000 yards. He can break. He's a game breaker. He can break it at any time. His receiving ability is just as good as some of the top wide receivers in the league. So Derrick Henry's, I also think Chris McCaffrey does more with less attempts than Derrick Henry does. Now, Derrick Henry, he's just a bulldozer. You have to game plan for his bulldozing run mentality where he runs angry. But he's just not the versatile threat I see that Chris McCaffrey is. So I have Christian McCaffrey at number 1, Derrick Henry at number 2. So let me know what you thought about my rankings and some of the statistics. If I messed up somewhere, let me know. I'm probably going to try to come out with another breakdown video of these upcoming wild cards, and I'm thinking about doing my thoughts on how I see the playoffs panning out. So please, as always, if you enjoyed what I did, give me a touchdown dance on that like button. Hit a home run with that subscription, please. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.